All right, guys. I want to take you through a solve that I just did, and the only reason I'm taking you through it is because I was successful, but I want you to see how I almost gave up. Kind of doing it for my friend David Ornchak, but if the police and the FBI and the people who actually want to find Nancy Guthrie want to take a look at this so they can believe in what I do more, that's fine. But Dave beat the heck out that dude who's out there running around telling him lies about the Black Delilah. I was in tears laughing, Dave Orchak's a good guy. He's a nice guy. So I wanted to show him a little bit of how I do this because he's skeptical and he's a good dude. He's a good dude. And I believe that he deserves to see how this kind of zodiac code thing is unstructured, but it is effective and it's structural, and that it has a lot to do with like Wheel of Fortune. So AI pushed this to me, right? And so AI is getting really good on computers. It's seen the other cards that I bought, so it can recognize a something that was created by Albert Lee Terry Jr. So I'm looking at it, and I enhanced it, and I thought, okay, so they cut out the pictures and put them on here, and it looks like Albert's stuff, but I almost thought that that it's just a fake, like somebody didn't actually go through making it. They just found some of his stuff and put it together, and that they were trying to fool me or something. Maybe not specifically me, but probably me, right? So I looked at it, and immediately you see this hole, you see this thing. These are pictures of people who are conspirators in the Nancy Guthrie abduction. So I'm thinking that's not an accident, right? So Albert Lee Terry Jr. does make these kind of pictures. This is really obvious though, right? He's not trying to hide it. You see this little figure right here? I mean, he's making sure. And I'm thinking, well, does he have lawyers now that are like, okay, let's test Steve, right? But there might be a real message in it. So I downloaded it and then I threw it away because I was like, there's nothing really here. I saw this, and when I saw that, that's the only thing that kind of hooked me, because that kind of is like what he does. Like, even if you were gonna fake it, you really wouldn't know to put these kind of figures here and to mess with that letter like that and then see this figure. So I was like, well, okay, so it really is Albert, right? But it's just so obvious, like this bold color, right? So I thought, I said, it's some kind of trick. And what I was going to do was I was going to message the person who posted this and say, yeah, blah, blah, blah. But I realized that the person who posted it may not actually be Albert. It could be, a surrogate, or it may not go directly to him. And people would just think I'm crazy. So I had deleted it, but I saved it as a favorite. And then I thought about it, because I pulled the code from up here. And but first, I know that it says I scan both sides of the postcards and may vary in condition. That's always a place where there's a clue. So I came down to read some more, and I saw that there are some words that are capitalized and some words that aren't capitalized. So I said, okay, I'll bite for a minute, just for a minute. So let me bring this up. And we're gonna do a live big thing real quick, but I want you guys are going through it the way I went through it, and I'm gonna show you the mistakes and assumptions I made that were wrong. So I'm seeing an I, an S, a B, a C, another S, then a slash, then a T, then a slash, then what do we get after that slash? So we went S slash T, and then there's a P right there, right? So we have a capital P, and then we don't have anything else. I wasn't gonna use this because it says read less at that point. So I figured I had a code there, right? And then I reverse it, and that would be P slash T slash I S B C. Wait, no, that's stupid. P T S C B S I. So I didn't really know right off the bat like what that was, right? So I was kind of stuck. I was like SCBSI, right? So I thought did I do that right? So I thought maybe it was his physical therapist told him that he had serious chronic bowel syndrome, or some kind of bladder infection or something, right? Did I get those letters right? Because I didn't get all these letters the first time. So what? IS B C S /T /P. So let me try it again. So P/T/SC. So I would try to solve the SCBSI first. So it could be Southern California, Steve Butler is irritating or something, but that's too much transposition, and you're like, I'm not being disciplined there. And so I've already reversed it, and there's nothing that tells me to flip it back. So, that could be South Carolina, it could be anything, right? P/T, so you got two letters, so that could be Pacific Time, Southern California, right? Butler, Stephen backwards, and an I. And what is I? Investigate, irritating, right? I would say more likely it would be like, so if it's Pacific Time and it's Southern California, right? Then there's a time, so there must be an event. So BSI, I don't know what BSI is in Southern California, right? That's not even Black Students Union, So I would try to look for BSI, but I'm not going to try to solve that right now. But I just wanted to show you that was where I initially went, and I was thinking about irritable bowel syndrome, right? Serious. I was thinking about indigestion and serious, bowel, chronic syndrome or something, and that it was his physical therapist. Like, physical therapist says chronic bowel system indigestion. There's something like that, like he had a bladder infection or something. And I was thinking, God, so I guess this is just a personal message to somebody telling him, hey, I'm going through all this kind of physical stuff. I really did think that. It still could be. I don't know. Right? So then I said, well, forget that. That's not even important enough to spend my time. You probably want to turn off the video right now, but actually it pays off. If you hang out, you'll find out. So then I came up here and I said, okay, well, let me grab this one. Right? So the code would be, the code would be TCLCEMASMJ. And then so you reverse it and you get JMSAMECLCT. I'm doing this live. I have notes that I did, but I'm not looking at the notes because I might have missed something or jumped something, and I kind of wanted to do this with you guys. So when I saw this, I was a little bit more interested because I know that he speaks French, and so I'm thinking j'aime, je t'aime, I love you. So if that's je t'aime, SA, I'm like, I love you, Savannah. And then I thought it was like collect a million, but what do I do with the E? Right? I was really confused, but I was caught. There was something about the CLCT, the ECLCT that had my attention. And I don't know why. And a lot of what I do is instinct. And I said, you know what? This card might have something in it. So I'm like, collect. So I'm thinking, he's talking about collecting the million. So I'm thinking, is he telling somebody that we're going to set you up to collect Savannah Guthrie's $1 million by telling you where her mother's bones are? So I looked at the picture with that in mind, right? And as I'm looking at the picture, you know, I'm noticing that there's this hole in the ground and that they got the jar and somebody's saying, no, don't do it. And I know these are representations of the people that are involved that were identified through the other card. So I'm like, okay, that's trying to hook me or trying to hook somebody. There's some real in here, even though it's kind of fakery. It's real. So I'm like, okay, are they trying to tell us what it's about? But I'm like, they know that I've cracked the code and that I'm telling everybody that they put her at St. Thomas More's Church at the University of Arizona. So I'm like, what's the deal? But what in this picture is out of place? Right? What in this picture is out of place? So this person, which is a girl who's actually a boy, right? So, you know, she's gay. That's not the point, right? And this one is actually her lover in real life. So that's Sister Lynn Alvin. That's Joyce. I believe that's Joyce or that's Joyce. It's one of the two. I think that might be Joyce. Or either that's Mina. And that's not Mark. That's man, I forget the other guy. Jonathan? No, it's not Jonathan. There's another person I identified, so he's putting this person in, so I don't know who it is. His name right off the bat. But the three girls I recognize. I believe that one is Joyce. She has dark hair. He's flipped the hair colors. And it was supposed to be Sister Lynn Alvin and Sister Lynn Alvin was overseeing Joyce and Mina bury the body in one of the other Liebig cards. I'm talking about these are people that were identified at the University of Arizona in this Catholic organization, associations, right, that seem to be involved directly in the kidnapping of Nancy Guthrie and in the burial of her supposedly in St. Maure Catholic Newman Center at the University of Arizona. So all that is grabbing my attention, right? And this person has a gun. This person has an umbrella. This guy's kind of dressed with a little purse. And this is kind of funny, like holding him back. And the girls are like, we got this. You know, you're an idiot. But the thing I couldn't figure out is why is there a book there? Right? Like, who was sitting here just reading? They didn't just run up on somebody, grab them, stick them in a jar, and they drop their book, right? And that there just happened to be a hatch right there. So I said, man, the book is the thing that's out of place. And when I do cryptology, even in the codes and everything that I do, I'm always looking for the thing that's out of place, the anomaly, right? The anomaly. And when I was looking at this, the only thing that seemed like it was fuller than the rest of the stuff was this. Like I said, that's a word. That is a truncated word. I didn't know what this other stuff was. It could have been anything. Sam, I am, I love you, million. It was just, but this is phonetic. It's not just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 letters. It's phonetic. You can hear it in your head, right? And I said, ecclesiastic. I'm Catholic. I used to be in the whole thing. And I'm like, that's ecclesiastic, right? So I didn't know how to really spell ecclesiastic. So I went, I'll do it again live. I already pulled them up, but I'll pull it down. Let's go like here, right? And let's pull that up. And I'm going to go ecclesiastic, right? Ecclesiastic. How do you spell ecclesiastic? Ecclesiastical. Okay. So we're getting close. So relating to the Christian church or the clergy, right? And I was like, wait a minute. That is definitely ecclesiastic. He wanted me to see that. So we're going to put down one of the translations as ecclesiastic, right? So then I was thinking, wait a minute. Okay, so if that's ecclesiastic, so as he's saying in French, then I was doing translations from English to French, and I kept saying I am, but that's je suis, right? So there is a JS for je suis. I am an American ecclesiastic is what I thought. I'm an American ecclesiastic, but you wouldn't transpose the French with some English in between it, I don't think. So I didn't know what to do with the M. There are reflexive verbs in French where you can go like je aime, but that I forget what the conjugation of that is. And so I thought, is that I love me or I am, but I couldn't understand the translation. And that was the luck of it all, I think. So I thought about the book and I said, wait a minute. That's American ecclesiastic. So now I'm cooking with some more grease. So I go online and I put in American Ecclesiastical, and it brought up American Ecclesiastical Review Archives, right? I'm like, wait a minute. Now we're on to something, right? So I needed to know a little bit more about American Ecclesiastical books. So I go into the review, and it says American Ecclesiastical Review began in 1889. Now I'm really curious, because now we're talking. So Albert, he's going to use some kind of historical something, right, to communicate. And I'm thinking, okay, this is legitimate. There's something here, but it doesn't look like this card is it. And I'm thinking, really? So it says that it ran until 1975, right? It got rid of its old name in 1906, and then it resumed its original name in 1944, and it ran till 1975. I'm like, okay, so, that's funny, right? So when I went back to the code, right, I went American Ecclesiastical, and I thought 1975. I'm like, how do I get 1975 out of this code? And so the only number other than the 6, but I didn't think about that, I said circa 1890. So I said American Ecclesiastical American, or American Ecclesiastical circa 1890. So how am I going to get 1970 something out of that? And I thought to myself, 8 minus 1 equals 7. And so then I have a 0, right? So that's 70. And then that only leaves a 9. I'm like, okay, September of 1970. And I'm like, why would that work? And then that's when I figured it out here, that the M was the month, right? I'm like, okay, the month was September. MS is M equals month, I thought maybe, and that the month was, so the S would equal September. I said, man, I'm on to something, right? And so the only thing that was left was the J. And so I still wasn't sold completely. And I thought, I kept looking at it, I kept thinking about it, and I said, wait, what if all this distraction was so you would never notice the book, right? And the best way to get somebody to miss something is to get them looking for something somewhere it isn't. So we're supposed to go down the rabbit hole, right? So I said, what if S equaled search? And I should search American Ecclesiastical was it that I thought? September, I think I did go September 1970, right? And I said, well, where am I supposed to search? And I said, well, right here. And God bless me. Hold on, guys, check this out. This was the search, right? Let me see if the search is still there. So look, I searched June 1970. Oh, right. So I thought the J was June. So I don't know what. So I went with J with June, and because the S instead of September, I went to search, right? So I crossed out the S as September, and I went to search, and I went to June. J equaled the month. J was June, and M equaled the month, right? So I said, search the month of June, American Ecclesiastical, 1970. And then I went to the search box and I put in June 1970 American Ecclesiastical. Guess what I found? On eBay, with that search, I found an Ecclesiastical History, Ancient and Modern volume by John Mosheim, 1798, right? And so I'm going to go down here, and I already had pulled him up right here. So now the J and the M could be John Mosheim instead of June, right? So now the J and the M are making even more sense. So now the J is John and the M is Mosheim. The year is 1798, but look, 1970, right? The number here is 1890, but you can get 8 minus that is 7, and so now with the 0 you have 1798. You have those exact 4 numbers, right? Let me show you. So you have 1890, right? And you just do some quick math. So you do 8 minus 1 equals 7, right? So you add that, and then you drop the 0, like 0's gone, and you have a 9. So you have an 8, a 1, a 7, and a 9, right? Let me break that off from here. And then what year is this book? It is a 1, a 7, a 9, and an 8. 1798 is right there. So now we have John Mosheim, 1798. We have the 1798. We have ecclesiastical, right? And A is not ancient, American. The A is ancient. A-N-C-I. So let me go back here. So A equals A-N-C-I-E-N-T equals ancient, right? And then do we have more than one M? Right. See, then we have another M. So instead of it being American, right? Because I had American, now that I don't have American, I can use the other M. The other M is modern. So the second M equals modern. It's all there, right? So the J is John, one M is Mosheim, right? Out of the code. The S is search, right? Then an A is American, right? We get rid of the June, right? Oh, don't do that. Oh, shoot. I keep hitting the wrong button. Right? So let's do it again. I hope I didn't mess it up. So J is John, right there. M is Mosheim, right? Got that. S, I said, was search. Okay. We did that up there, right? And then A was ancient, right there. Then the other M is modern, right there. And then ECLCT is ecclesiastical. And then we did the whole thing with the number. So there's 1798. This is where that other card was sending us. Check that out, right? So I got here, and as soon as I saw it, I'm like, oh, this is Albert Lee all day. Like, I haven't even downloaded it, but I can already see little faces in there. See how dense it is? Like right there, there's something. And then there was multiple things, and it's a book. See how it's a book? So the book on the ground, so the message is here, right? I haven't decoded it, but see, this is how they work. There's tons of information in here, I guarantee you. So here's the book, the binding, right? And he put his own little special. So the only thing I'm going to do now is I'm going to download this thing, just so I can show you that I know that it's Albert, right? I bet, man, money, because we're going to get deep into that thing. Not deep into it, but we're going to get deep into the visual of it. So I'm going to bring it up, and then I'm going to edit, right? And then I'm going to save as a copy. Give me a PNG desktop. Got it. We're going to go big, and then watch this. Right in here there's something. It's like a little skipper face, but all these little dots and stuff are faces and ghouls and goblins and stuff that Albert adds to the image of the old book. Like, if you look right here, it's almost like a wolf right here, right? It takes a while sometimes to see what the embedded images are, right? So there's a message in the pages that he's put in the book, but this is his particular validation. So the other card, you saw how it looked like cutouts and stuff, like it didn't look kind of real. Like, see how the edges look like they're just cut out? It's just kind of BS. So he did that on purpose, right? He wanted the person to know that whoever's looking at this, that this was BS, right? And that the book was on the ground. Now, I don't know if his guys are as smart as I am, right? A little humor there. But, you know, if you understand him, you'd figure out that book was the thing, because the umbrella is pointing at the book. Now, I don't know if they have an internal code about a color or something, but it's really out of place. All the rest of this stuff, like if you were hunting, whatever, with a gun and blah, 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 but it just seemed like a joke, right? And you go down the rabbit hole and you're looking for the body, and it's just ridiculous. But the thing was the book, and that this didn't look really sophisticated, right? But this did. This lets you know. So like right in here, if I were to do more research, I would think like some map, but that almost looks like a serpent right there. Now there's a lot of people that are going to tell you that, you know, this is pareidolia or something. You're just seeing things that aren't there. Man, that stuff is there, okay? Don't even get it twisted. I could go into where I put this thing into a word process that highlights the inverse relationship of the colors. See all this stuff? That's Albert Lee's. That's his Mitri A. There we go. There's a face you can see. See how he does that right there? And I bet that in the incandescent light reversal, that all kinds of stuff will come up in this thing. I just don't want to make the video that long. I just wanted you to see how this isn't just an old book cover, that he took the old book cover and he inlaid more intricate stuff in there. Like, see, there's some green eyes, like neon eyes right there. There is a figure right there. Let me spin this thing. I hope I spun it the right way and you can see it. As you spin it, you always see more of his stuff. Oh, bingo! See, God's good. Look right there. See how he put that little face in there? There we go. There's my proof. Oh my goodness. You can't mistake that. That isn't. What about that, Mr. Fung? Remember the OJ trial, right? So now I know this is an Albert Lee Terry Jr. creation. Look, he's got faces there. Some old guy. So there is a serious message somewhere in this greeting card. And we found it, right? So if you go through these things right here, if I downloaded all this stuff, it would take some time, but Albert's sending out a message here. And we were able to identify every single item of this title except volume 6 with the code that we extracted from this card and this title. And AI recognized the embedded, because AI can analyze images, so that's what it does. It analyzed the image and it said that these have the same characteristics embedded, even invisible, not purely visible to the naked eye, but with some magnification, and it pushed it to my desktop. And it said, you might want to take a look at this. And my familiarity with his coding, my sixth sense, which I think is my gift, right? Just like you have people who play really well Jeopardy or really well on Wheel of Fortune, there's an intangible there, that their brain has seen so many words or phrases or things that just like AI, it's able to take a small amount of clues. Just like I can name that tune in 3 notes, right? Some people have heard so much music that they know that beat. So this is my thing. This is a gift that I've gotten. But I did this to let you know that if you really want to solve the Nancy Guthrie case, if you really want to give the JonBenet legacy any respect that it's due, and not have people run around thinking that Patsy killed her daughter, right? Or give Cherry Joe Bates' family some dignity, right? Instead of saying, oh, it was just a hoax, the person who delivered the confession letter, because the meter mark on the envelope that the confession letter came in is underneath the stamp. If you didn't notice that thing was not mailed, okay? And if you care anything about the Zodiac victims, which nobody does seem anymore, they're just, fodder for another movie or a podcast or a book. Solving the Nancy Guthrie case, at least it telling people that it's so unusual, because there's been this individual for 6 decades who's faked his death in 1971 named Albert Lee Terry Jr., who migrated to Canada after putting a proffer into the FBI through the Vallejo PD under the guise of being an amateur astrologer to get into the witness protection program, of which we don't know if he was admitted or not, became a friar in Canada, and eventually became the pastor of St. John Apostle in Kingston, Ontario. And while the pastor of St. John Apostle in Kingston, Ontario, he used this type of talent and the other talent of creating images embedded to create the JonBenet ransom note, which is a directional guide for an intruder to go in there and murder that little girl. Probably walking down the street with stilts on, right? Which is why the neighbor thought he saw a tall walking man, blonde, they thought was the older brother, but who was nowhere near the place, was out of town, couldn't be it, and used the stilts as a ladder to get inside the basement, right? Or come out of the basement. Just kind of cut down, but still sort of tall, which is probably why they were unidentifiable marks on the floor or the wall where they couldn't figure out what it was probably the nubs on the stilts, right? That he propped up to climb out. I mean, all the forensic evidence comes with that. And in the note, there is images of a tall walking man, right? And other images that coalesce with a Carson and Barnes brochure and a page of their route book in the 90s, right? Of which there's like a page 71 where every single body, every single person on that page can be identified in a letter that looks like a picture in the JonBenet ransom note. That's not a coincidence. Just like all these letters matching up with this title is not a coincidence. So I have to get back to running my business. I can't do this forever. You know, if you're just a simple detective, you are the most important person on the planet Earth. Because all those highfalutin dudes at the FBI are just going to lie to you for the most part, because they have the talent, they have the people that can figure this out, and they haven't told anybody in 60 years. So that's, you know, that's what it is. If you flat-foot guys that go home every night and kiss your little girls and boys, to tuck them in bed and take them to softball or hardball practice or football practice or basketball and dancing or to the theater or ice skating or whatever they want to do, think that it's your job to make sure that they live in a world where justice stands and that kids can be safe and that evil has to pay the price. That's why you put the badge on. Trust your boy Steve to give you all the things that the FBI should be giving you, and have the courage to follow up the leads and close the case. That's my presentation. I'll talk to you later.
All right, guys. I want to take you through a solve that I just did, and